Hi, my name is Farah Al-Najjar and I'm a psychotherapist and a certified clinical trauma professional. Every week I post a video based on your requests, so send your requests on my Instagram account or my Facebook account at Farah Talks. These videos are meant to just shift the way you're thinking and help you thrive better. Most of my audience are immigrants or first generation Americans, and I love talking about issues related to this population. Today, we will talk about parenting teenagers in a Western society. And in this video, I'm not going to be talking just about what is going on with the kids themselves. I'm going to be talking to you, the parents too. And if you're a teenager listening to this, welcome. And this is amazing that you're listening to this. And please share it with your parents. The first part of the video, I'm going to be talking about you as a parent. What are your expectations and some mindset shifts that need to happen. The second part, I'm going to be talking about what's going on with the kids, biologically and psychologically, and why you need to understand these points to have more empathy towards your kids. The third part, I will just give you concrete steps. The first thing I want to talk about is your mindset as a parent. What are your expectations from this child, from this teenager? Do you want him or her to be perfect? Because there's no such a thing as perfect. So do you want them to not ever yell or express their emotions? Because that's not healthy. In a healthy environment, we should be able to express anger or fear or cry, and it's just emotions are healthy. So anger is just as healthy as joy. I would just sit with that and think about it. Is it okay for a teenager to be angry? I think it's okay as long as they're not being disrespectful or crossing the lines. Allow them to express some level of anger. I would say anger is actually healthy. So on a scale from 1 to 10, anger that's 5 or below is extremely healthy and helpful to know what's going on, what's wrong. But anger that is expressed on a scale from 5 to 10 is unhealthy anger. It's disruptive and it doesn't help because at that point you're just losing it and no one is communicating. Allow them to express themselves as long as it's not going overboard. The second point, if they're already being punished for something at school, let's say skipping school or acting out at school, you don't need to punish them at home. What we do is we over punish sometimes. Yes, they do need to get punished when they do something wrong. But if that punishment is already taken care of at school, they're in detention or something, you don't need to go overboard and punish again at home because that creates a negative dynamic between you and the teenager. So make sure that you're not over punishing. Third point, if you're an immigrant, we need to talk. Or if you're a first generation, which is most of my audience for this channel and my Instagram account. As an immigrant myself, this is tough. I mean, I have a 12-year-old boy and I'm struggling now because he's going to be a Westerner. He's going to be mostly Western. He's going to be mostly American. And my values and my Arab, Iraqi identity is not going to be really taken into consideration, maybe part of it, but not all of it. And I have to be okay with that because that's a choice that I made when I moved to this country. So don't expect your kid to have the same values as you if you're an immigrant or first generation. Don't expect them to treat you the same way you treated your parents because this is a completely different culture, completely different environment. And this is a decision that we made when we decided to move to a Western country. So your kid is always going to be more Western and different thinking than you. And also keep in mind that if you're in a Western country, the goal for each individual in a Western society is to be independent and not need the family and create an identity that is separate from their family. So that's what your kids want. And what you want is completely opposite as an immigrant. You want them to stay attached to the family, stay attached to the old culture, and that's not going to work. If you want them to thrive, you have to allow them the freedom to have their independent lives. Still value family and love the family, but have the freedom to do things on their own. Next point is, how are you managing your emotions? Are you emotionally mature? Let's talk about this for a little bit. I mean, I was guilty of that. I was yelling all the time. I was frustrated all the time, and that didn't work. It just created a healthy environment at home until I worked on my emotions and I started regulating my feelings and really truly being happy myself. That's when my relationship with my kids got better. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your emotions. You're emotionally mature. You're actually modeling a way that is mature to deal with emotions. What I hear all the time from parents is, I yelled at him or her because he or she yelled at me. Well, this is not an equal relationship. You're a parent, you're an adult with a completely developed brain, and your teenager is much younger than you and his or her brain is still developing. If your teenager comes to you and they're yelling, you have to have the resources and the knowledge to know how to deal with that. What do I mean by this? So if my teenager comes and they're yelling at me and I reply by yelling at them, what I'm modeling at that point is that when someone yells, you yell back. And this keeps going on and on. So what happens? They yell, you yell back. Next time you yell, they yell back. And we're just stuck in the cycle of yelling, and it's not getting anywhere. Next time when they come to you yelling, you just stop and say, that's not okay. You cannot talk to me with this tone. Let's just take 5 minutes, cool down, and then we can talk about it. I understand you're upset. I understand you're feeling overwhelmed, but you cannot talk to me in this tone. So make sure that you're modeling emotionally mature behavior, because if you're not emotionally mature, your kids will keep yelling at you because you keep yelling at them. Let's talk about the last point for you as a parent to keep in mind. Let's challenge your mindset. So what happens is that we usually dramatize as parents, and we think, oh my God, I'm such a failure. My kid can't respect me. I can't get them to do anything. I'm doomed. I wasted my life. I wasted my years. But hold on a second. This is not forever. This is only for a few years. They're teenagers for a few years. And I promise you, if you're a loving parent and a good parent, and if you're listening to this, it means that you're an amazing parent who wants to improve their kids' lives. So I salute you. This is amazing that you're listening to this and you're watching this. It's going to get better once these few years are over. So just remind yourself of that. This is temporary. This is not forever. And no need to be caught up in this drama. Now, let's talk about what's going on for teenagers. What's happening with them? Where is my sweet little child? All these questions. Teenagehood is a transition from when they're children, they love structure, they love rules, they're receptive to rules. And then when they're teenagers, they want more control over their lives. So you cannot expect the same level of obedience from a teenager that you got from a young child. You have to allow them some freedom to make some rules. I mean, you are the parent, you're the expert, you dictate what is okay for them to control and what is not. But you have to allow them this control to develop their personality. The second thing is their prefrontal cortex, which is the most advanced area of your brain that is responsible for making executive decisions, is not fully developed yet. That area of the brain is the area for emotional control. That's not fully developed until you're 25 or 26. So keep that in mind. They need your brain to regulate theirs. They're looking at you and they want you to teach them how to react. They also need boundaries. When they throw tantrums and they yell and like, I hate you, mom, this, you suck, or you're the worst dad ever. They don't mean it. So make sure that you're not reacting to this and getting all hurt. They don't mean that. They need boundaries. So if you're not okay with them saying that, make it clear that this really hurts my feelings. Please don't say that to me. Model mature behavior over and over. It will work eventually. If you think that you mishandled the situation, which we all do, I yell. Even I'm a therapist now and I know all these things and I teach these things to people. I teach parents how to handle their kids and their teenagers. I still yell sometimes. It happens. We're human beings. But what I do is when I yell or I misreacted or I overreacted, I go back and I make sure that I repair. I go back and say, hey, sorry, I yelled. That wasn't nice of me, or I wish I handled this better. I overreacted. So make sure you model this behavior to your kid, that it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to go back and ask for forgiveness. Again, remember, you're teaching them how to react. So you need to model this behavior. So go back and say, I mishandled this situation. Sorry for that. Not sorry for the boundary that you set, but sorry for mishandling the situation. Also, make sure that you don't make any decisions when you're mad or angry. When they do something and you're so upset and can't take it, take a step back and take a few breaths, and don't make a decision when you're mad. Make sure you collect your thoughts before you decide on what the punishment is going to be. What I see all the time is that we're mad and we go overboard and say no electronics ever, and you're not going to talk to your friends, and no more phone, no more this, no more that. We're emotional, so we go overboard. And then the next day, this is not realistic. You can't keep them without their phone forever. You can't go off electronics forever. So you need to step back and, collect yourself and think about what is really realistic. What kind of punishment is realistic, and it's not, going overboard. Of course, I'm assuming that there is no calling names or physical abuse, because these two are just extremely damaging to your kids. I know this is very common in some cultures, but this needs to be stopped. And another point, your kids are not going to come and say, I love you all the time as teenagers. Some teenagers might still do that, but expect that they're not going to say that. That's not how they express their love to you anymore. How they show you love sometimes can be subtle. Like, I'm going to talk about myself. My son shows me his memes. That's the way he's showing me that he loves me and he wants to spend time with me. So I have to meet him where he's at. So I have to go with the flow and see where does he want to meet me. He doesn't want me to say I love you all the time, and he doesn't want to say I love you to me all the time. But he's showing me his memes. I don't understand the memes. I laugh and I'm interested and I'm present with him. But that's how we're building this relationship. That's how it's getting better, by me just being interested in him. So be interested in what they're doing. Don't expect them to talk to you on your level. Go down to their level and be really interested in what's going on. But you have to respect their space. That's it for today. I hope you found this helpful. I made this YouTube video longer because I was getting complaints that my YouTube videos are too short. Please comment and share. I love reading your comments. I base all my content on your questions and your requests. So please put in your requests, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.